The journey of faith. Why God separated Abraham from his father. In the ancient days, amid the sands of Ur of the Chaldees, there lived a man named Abram, later called Abraham by God himself. He was a man of faith. Yet his journey to become the father of many nations was not without divine intervention and divine separation. To understand why God separated Abraham from his father, Terah, we must delve into their story, one woven with divine purpose, human obedience, and spiritual calling. If you are enjoying this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It really helps a lot and keeps the great content coming. The early life of Abram was born in Ur of the Chaldees, a city renowned for its wealth, idol worship, and cultural sophistication. His father, Terah, was an idolater, an influential figure in his community, worshipping false gods and serving idols made with human hands. The Bible describes Terah's family as steeped in idolatry, which would later serve as a contrast to Abram's divine calling. God's call to Abram. One day, the Lord appeared to Abram and called him to leave his homeland and his family to go to a land that God would show him. This divine call is recorded in Genesis 12:1-3. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. Genesis 12:1-2, KJV. This command was not merely about geographic relocation. It was about spiritual separation. God was calling Abram to leave behind the false gods, the idolatry, and the cultural influences that could hinder his faith journey. The influence of family and idolatry. Before this divine calling, Abram's family was entrenched in idol worship. His father Terah had built or worshipped idols, perhaps even in hopes of prosperity or divine favor. The Bible notes in Joshua 24:2, And Joshua said unto all the people, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods. Joshua 24:2, KJV. This verse clarifies that Abram's family was deeply involved in serving false gods, which would have posed a spiritual obstacle for Abram's faith. God, knowing Abram's potential to become a vessel of his promise, called him out of this spiritual environment. The divine separation. God's command for Abram to leave his family was a divine act of separation, an act that involved both physical and spiritual discipline. It was necessary for Abram to depart from the influences that could sway him away from the true worship of the one God. The separation was not merely about geographic distance, but about setting Abram apart from the spiritual pollution of his family's idol worship. This is reflected in Romans 4:17, where Paul describes Abraham's faith journey. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. Before him whom he believed, even God, who quickeneth the dead, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. Romans 4:17, KJV. Abram's obedience to God's call was an act of faith, trusting in God's promise despite the unknown. His separation from his father was a necessary step to become the father of nations. The significance of divine separation. Why did God specifically command Abram to separate from his family? The answer lies in the nature of divine calling and sanctification. God often calls his people to be separate from worldly influences to serve him fully. 2 Corinthians 6:17 emphasizes this. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. 2 Corinthians 6:17 KJV. In Abram's case, separation meant breaking away from the idol worship and false religious practices of his family. God's plan was to establish a new spiritual lineage through Abram, a lineage rooted in faith and obedience.